All right, y'all. Let's hope that I don't lose storage by the end of this time. Round 2, a week later. Screen, is it on? I just heard a meow. Oh, my dog's looking at me in the window. Hey guys, welcome back to the Been Through Some Shit podcast. This is episode 2. Actually, take 2 and maybe even take 3 at this point. So I actually recorded last week. I was on a roll, 50 minutes of just great stuff. And then I went to turn it off and it was already off. Turns out that my phone ran out of storage. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more lessons learned in the course of recording this podcast. Before I even went to record it the first time, I wasn't in a great headspace. I was feeling a creative block and my energy levels sucked, and still kind of feeling some of that. I've actually kind of over the weekend realized some things, why I'm having a creative block, why my energy levels are so low, and I'll maybe touch on that a little bit. But without further ado, let me reintroduce myself because I didn't do that in episode 1. My name is Kelly. I am your host of the Been Through Some Shit podcast, and I want to say thank you to everybody who watched episode 1, listened to episode 1, and gave me feedback, whether it was, hey, loved it, a thumbs up, or telling me you can't wait for episode 2 and 3 and 4 and have shared with your friends. Like, that means so much to me, and I can't even express my gratitude. Last week, I had a moment of I can't sleep because my brain just was going and going and going and going of all these cool ideas that I actually have. And I can't wait to share those with y'all. I'm not quite ready yet, but as somebody who, going back to episode 1, I told you guys a little bit about how I disassociated for so many years, that disconnection from mind, body, and soul. One thing I really struggled with is I never knew what I wanted to do, and I never knew what my dreams were. You know, it seemed like everybody had such clear dreams, and I wanted that. And for the first time, you know, after starting this podcast, I have some dreams, which is really, really cool. So if you're somebody out there that hasn't had that yet, it will come. I actually texted my therapist and I was like, yeah, so I think I figured out the reason why I was disassociating and disconnecting for the last 2 weekends so heavily. And I know now when I'm doing it. Like, before, didn't realize when I actually was doing it, but now I'm so freaking aware. And I'm like, okay, now that I know I'm in this state, why am I in this state? So because of these big dreams, the more I let go of the shit that I've been through and the things I'm holding on to about it, the more space is opening up to be in the present moment and have these dreams and hear these callings that are coming to me. With Michael A. Singer, shout out to him and his books, The Untethered Soul. I accidentally skipped the second one and went straight to the third one, Living Untethered. There's a second one I want to read that I haven't gotten to yet. It's The Surrender Experiment. I'm super excited. But the man's got talks on his website that are free. I'm happy to share those. They're grounding for me. His teachings in The Untethered Soul talk about why we're not okay, right? We seek things that are external to us because we're not okay in some capacity. We're not able to handle something. So we seek money, we seek attention, we seek love and relationships and buying things, addictions to drugs and alcohol, and we're seeking all of these things to try to make ourselves okay. And I think that concept is so crazy real, right? Just strictly looking at us as human beings, what our bodies have held onto and what lens we see our life experiences through, right? In episode 1, I touched on that life is objective. Everything else is purely subjective. It's something we apply meaning to it. His teachings allow you to understand that there's something that's not okay with you and how to apply it in your life to sit back and think, okay, well, why am I looking for this thing? I've been going down this path of exploring my thorns. So he uses this analogy of thorns in your side. So when you're not okay, right, you're holding on to something in life, right? Somebody did something to you. In my case, I lost my dad, and it's a thorn that's been in my side, and I've left that thorn there. And instead of pulling out that thorn, I've tried to make things okay around it. He talks about putting pillows around it when you're laying on your side, so that the thorn isn't pressing in further and causing you pain, or you're adjusting the way that you move in life because you don't want to hit a corner, turning around. And I don't know how many other people are as clumsy as I am, but I run into door frames all the time. I have bruises all over the place. And you adjust the way you move because you have this thorn in your side, and if you hit that wall, that shit's gonna hurt. So instead of adjusting your life to accommodate this thorn, pull that mother trucker out. Learn why you're not okay. And it's kind of cool to think about how this all applies. Shout out to the medical world for being behind and not accepting this as a diagnosis, but it makes complete sense. I didn't know what complex PTSD was. CPTSD, right? So we all know PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, where vets or people who've been through something traumatic, their life is generally normal, but then they have these flashbacks. They're super intense. The sight, the smell, the memories, everything is so vivid and real that they end up reliving it over and over and over every time they have a flashback. Now you have CPTSD, on the other hand, that is an accumulation of traumas that essentially layer on top of one another. So if you were never taught how to process a trauma that you were experiencing, you never learned how to let that go, you hold on to that. And so it creates this new lens that you see life through. Remember that thorn? You're adjusting the way that you move through life. So then something else happens. And then something else happens. And you continue to have these layers over and over, that now you may be moving through life less enthusiastically, more anxiously. Maybe you feel less safe. In my case, the very first trauma I would say that I can recall going through is bullying, and bullying by my family, which sucks. It's hard to come out and say that, because knowing that on their end it wasn't bullying, right? It was just joking, right? Like, oh, ha ha ha, let's make fun of you and call you the whale from SeaWorld. Talk about confidence builder, right? No. So I got bullied a lot by my family, my brother, my sister. I learned to dull my personality, tone it down, not be as outgoing, not as bubbly, not as joyful, because those were the things that you got made fun of, right? I'm sure there's so many people out there that can resonate with this. And as a kid, I had nowhere to turn and to be like, hey, this is happening to me, and somebody help me process that. So I turned around and I was a bully. I'm not proud of that by any means, and I think about it a lot, and I feel terrible. And I hope that those who I've bullied through my childhood can give me the grace that I've given my bulliers, my bullies. Michael A. Singer has allowed me to be able to sit back and understand, why was that happening? Well, because they didn't feel okay with something, and they were trying to make it okay through external things, through their external circumstances, the people around them, the environments they were in. And no, it wasn't fair to me, but it also wasn't fair to them either. They're being able to sit back and have an understanding of, there's a reason why they were like that too. When you look at racism, you're like, how can anybody be racist? How could anybody think this way or think that way, and so radically? Well, if you think about everything that they've ever gone through in their life, you probably would be like that too. But because of what you've gone through, your brain and your processing says that's not right. That's not how anybody should think. But no one person is the same, and we've all had different experiences in life. In episode 1, again, I said that No one's ever going to experience the same exact moment that you're experiencing right now. No same person is going to experience the exact same bullying that I did. No same person is going to experience the exact same joys of my childhood I did. No same person is going to enjoy the family aspects that were really great, or the loss of my dad and the loss of my brother, and you know, my life is completely different. Everything I've gone through has led me up to this point, and I wouldn't change it. Even all the shitty stuff, I wouldn't change it. And now when I look at other people walking through the world, I get more curious. What have they been through? What made them the way they are today? I had this thought. I sit right in the middle of politics. I'm not far right, I'm not far left, I'm not, honestly, if I could not identify with any of it, I wouldn't. It's all crazy to me. But when I look at, I used to get so mad at people that were Trump supporters. Like, how could you support somebody so crazy and just not a good role model? But if I sit back and I'm like, well, what did they go through in their life that made them become a Trump supporter? What made them say this is somebody that I would support? And I don't have an answer to that, but the curiosity is there, and I can now open a door for something, a conversation, relatability. So Michael A. Singer, highly recommend his books. I say it with a disclaimer because I was in the right exact moment when I needed that book. And I listened to an audiobook. He is hilarious. He's like a spicy old man. He's in Gainesville. I want to meet him. It's not very far from me. So, highly recommend, but go in with an open mind. And if you're willing to do the work on yourself, and the crazy thing and what I love so much about his books is not even his books, his teachings. What he teaches, you don't have to do any extra work for. You don't have to go to a yoga studio. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to go out of your way to do the work. The work is what's in front of you every single day, every single moment in time. My work today was getting in front of this dang camera and just recording an episode and letting it go. Let go of trying to redo the first take that I did. Let go of the creative block I was feeling, and the energy levels, and the oh my gosh, the sun's gonna go down. Like, my work is right here and I'm doing it right now. What work is being presented in front of you? What challenged you today? And by challenged you, I mean what was put in front of you that you weren't okay with. That's your work. One of the most simple examples in the book that he gives is, you're in the car and you're in traffic. Are you yelling at the person in front of you? Are you like cursing up a storm in the car? Are you okay? Most of us, you can look at the car next to one another and be like, that person's not okay. Who are they yelling at? And it's true. Who are you yelling at? Why are you getting so worked up about something that is not in your control? In fact, why are you so upset that traffic's moving the way that it was? Oh, well, you left late. Well, whose fault is that? Right? So I highly recommend the book if that's what you're interested in, and really, really opening the door to understanding yourself and understanding what your motives are and what stuff you're holding on to. Another really cool takeaway I got from the book is, if something's continually coming up, likely it's something you got to work through. What's continually coming up? I would say one thing that was continually coming up for me, I wouldn't go for runs, I wouldn't go for walks anymore. I just like wasn't leaving my house, and I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. And I started to kind of get a little bit past that, but then I wasn't cooking, I wasn't cleaning. And come to find out, thankfully with my therapist's help, shout out Dr. V, she is amazing. If you've never heard of EMDR, it's a technique that therapists use, trauma informed and certified, trained, whatever credentials they have. Super important to make sure that they have those credentials, because I've heard of some people that don't do this shit right. Good intentions, but make sure you got somebody good, especially if you got a lot of shit to work through. EMDR helped me work through, where's this thing coming from? Why I loved cooking. I, I don't love cleaning, but it's fine, right? Like, I get to and I get it done. Um, why couldn't I clean? Why couldn't I cook? I love grocery shopping. What was the matter? And come to find out, from an old situation, my body was holding on to this trauma that I had experienced that I didn't know I was holding so tightly to. And through EMDR, I was able to let that go. Now, do I need EMDR and therapy to get through all of my stuff? No, but it's a really nice tool to have in your toolbox. I'm super self-reflective, like I journal and all that stuff, so that definitely has helped me along reading these books and taking accountability and ownership of my healing journey. Whereas some people just expect to go to a therapist and have their problem solved. Like, that ain't how it works. It's not how it works. I like my therapist ask me questions. I like to ask her questions. And, I liken therapy to a ball of yarn. And every time you work through something with your therapist, it's like pulling out that yarn just a little bit further and unraveling a little bit more about yourself, untangling the mess, if you will. Oh my gosh, how dark is it? Is it really dark? It's not too bad. The moon's going away. Okay, I'll wrap this up. I really wanted to give a little bit of a background around what's contributed to my journey so far. Not so much the circumstances and the traumas themselves, but the actual tools and things that I've used throughout. Therapy has been a huge one. I started therapy 2016 maybe. Had a great gal. She was fantastic. I got lucky that each of my therapists that I've generally clicked with. Maybe had like one or two that I wasn't crazy about. I started using BetterHelp. Most insurance plans don't really cover mental health services, which is bizarre to me, but 2023, we're not as advanced as we should be. BetterHelp offers great plans. I think it was like $65 a pop per week, one visit per week. You paid, I think it was 4 weeks in advance or something like that, and that's how you got the 65. And then it goes up from there. But I thought that was pretty affordable, and their customer service was great. Like, if you need to move or extend or pause or whatever, they were fantastic. I've since found somebody through a referral from another girlfriend who absolutely love her. Shout out again, Rebecca. I found my current therapist now. And when I connected with her, I was in the lowest of possible lows. I was seeing her twice a week, $85 a pop, which is actually pretty good for out of pocket. I knew I wanted to see her, so I was forking it up, and I knew that investing that in myself would push me so much farther. And granted, it's almost been a year, and I'm not doing twice a week, thankfully. My wallet didn't want to keep doing that, but being able to own and hold myself accountable for my healing journey made it so that I can progress so much faster. That's not to say you can rush your healing or rush this process of self-exploration. I've been on this journey for a long ass time. I've felt that something deep down wasn't right for the last 10, 12 years. And my best advice for anybody who knows that something inside just ain't right. That's not to say that you don't experience joy, you don't experience great relationships, that you don't have a great career or wonderful days, like whatever, right? It's not to say any of that. But I knew something, I wasn't at my best. Like, there's potential inside me. I just couldn't pull it out. I didn't know what was wrong. And through that, what was the next thing that I was trying to figure out? What was the very next stepping stone? And having depression for so many years, that was what kept me going, was just, all right, one foot in front of the other. Step on the next stone. Step on the next stone. And sometimes you didn't step very far. Maybe it was just a little inch, and maybe it wasn't at all. Maybe it was a couple steps back. But no matter what, keep moving forward and add tools to your toolbox, right? Therapy. Michael A. Singer, his teachings and his books and these free talks that he puts on his website every single week. I think he puts like 3 a week on there. Don't get caught up in trying to chase somebody else's journey or trying to fast track yours. Like, give yourself the grace, determine that something's not okay, and you're going to determine what that is, and just each day look at it a little bit and a little bit, a little bit more. There's stuff that's going to be so hard to even think about. Don't even think about that stuff. Just go through the normal day-to-day stuff and figure out, what can I do today to just move myself a little bit further? And if you can't do that today, shit, that's okay. Don't let nobody tell you different. You go at your pace. And I promise you, it's scary as I'm gonna swear on that one. It's scary. The more stuff that I've released, the more I can hear and see everything else. It wasn't until recently that I felt life telling me what my calling was. God, universe, whatever. At the end of the day, it's all the same thing. It's this higher consciousness, this higher purpose, this higher calling that's, you can make space for it, you'll start to hear that. And again, as somebody who struggled with not knowing what my dreams were or being able to even visualize basic things like what I want my day to look like. Shoot, I don't know what I want my day to look like. I just don't care about my day. Oh my gosh, I didn't even care for so long. And sometimes I still struggle with it of, I don't even want to, like, what's the point of waking up? Or why do anything today? I can just do it tomorrow. I'll feel better tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. So give yourself the grace. Determine what works for you. What stuff do you want to work through? Is there something missing in your life that you want to find? Just start asking yourself questions. And as we go through this podcast, I hope that you'll share those questions with me. You'll share those things that you're trying to discover with me so that we can move forward together. Something that's been on my heart, and I'm going to end it with this, is building more community. I walked through life and I was this person, and I still have my days where I am so disconnected. I don't look people in the eyes. I'm looking down. I'm not really listening when I say, hey, how are you? How many times have you done that? How many times have you asked somebody, how are you? And you didn't actually listen to the answer? Do you even remember what their answer was? Exactly that, right? The world has so many defenses up, including our own. And I want to help break those down. I want to help us find community again in a world that is so determined to break us apart from each other and to break us down, dumb us down, keep us where they got us. Let's get past that together. Let's find that community together. So with that, I end episode 2. Again, my name's Kelly. It is hella dark. Hopefully y'all can still see me. I got my little porch light out here. It's honestly super beautiful tonight, and I'm so glad that I mustered up the courage to do this episode tonight, whether the sun was going down or not. Follow me on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, follow the podcasts, and send me what y'all think. You guys are amazing. I can't wait to bring you episode 3. Not too shabby.
Hi, Kita.
No bad days. Shout out to Five Below. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it out. Smells so freaking good. Shout out to the Wallflower Shop. This giant train decided to go by when I decided to do this podcast episode. Y'all see how pretty that moon is back there? Oh, I think she's coming to the end. Get there, get there, get there. The train has passed. Man, that's like a metaphor for life, right? Oh, and then an airplane's gonna go over. Giant airplane. Ugh, I hate this episode already. Take 3. All right. Bring her back. Bring it 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 back. Okay.